In this video, my co-host Brent Simmons will show you how to properly install Skylight. Skylights are not that easy to install. Some roofers absolutely hate them. They don't like the liability, but if you do them right, there's nothing to worry about. Brent Simmons is one of the best in business. He will show you how to do it right. Comment below if you have any questions. Brent will answer them for you.
What's going on, everybody? Brent Simmons here with Roofing Insights. So I want to show you how we're going to install some skylights. Let's do a little tutorial together. So I'm at a new construction house, or a house that's being built right now, and you can see right behind me we have two skylights that have been cut in. Now we typically come in and we can frame them out, and that I'll cover that in another topic. In this case, it was a new build, so it was pretty easy to do this while the house is being framed. You can, let me flip around here. So this house has been roofed, but it needs, we need to cut it in and install the skylights. So let's go up top. I'm gonna give you a little tutorial on how to do this. So right here, we've cut in our opening. We still gotta remove some more of the shingles here. We need 4.5 inches between the edge of the opening and the felt here for us to put the skylight down and put the provided ice and water shield that comes in the flashing kit down on the roof. So Omar, let's go ahead and remove that lower shingle. Let's get this out of here. Let's cut that out. Get your knife. Just cut it bigger and we'll weave it back in when we're done. There we go. You want to cut that. All right, let's go ahead and cut the felt back 4 inches. Let's get that little tab off there, bud. All right, we can work with that.
¿Abajo por qué?
We've got the skylight installed. It's about as square as it'll ever be. None of these framed openings are ever perfectly square, so we basically lined it up with the top, the header. So Velux gives you nails to use in all these holes. So right now we're installing them. We have them temporarily just kind of tacked on just to hold our spot. You got the nails?
Este va a ser más fácil. Tráete el otro escalario solo, Mar. Tráetelo.
got to be pretty careful in this step. It's easy to hit the cladding there, so. That's gonna hold it for now. We put the nails in every single hole. Check it out. This one's got a solar blind, so you can see the little panel right there. So you want to make sure you get these nails in there flat and flush, otherwise it will interfere with the flashing kit. You've got to have a good hand to do this without hitting the skylight. I'm gonna let him continue doing that. We'll check back when we're doing the ice and water shield. That is our next step. Take a look at our alignment. We've got these on here really well. I'd say this hole's framed out a little bit more square. This one looks great. What's going inside of this is gonna be some beadboard. I'm sorry, not a beadboard, like a V-notch wood trim. And then at the very top, we're gonna put like a 1x4 or crown molding. Not sure yet, but that's it's gonna look really nice. We've got the second skylight just, you know, tacked on there. He's still putting the nails on that one. Next step is we're going to use the ice and water shield. Let's open up the flashing kit. Here we go. So Velux gives you a roll of ice and water. It's like a reinforced ice and water. It's pretty cool. So that is our next step. Once he's done putting the nails in, we're gonna start at the bottom and work our way up the sides to the top. So these are a designer shingle. They're kind of a little different from architectural shingles. So what we're gonna do is we're removing these nails. So when we put our ice and water shield, this white underlayment down, we can go on top of the felt there like the instructions ask, but go underneath the shingle. We're just breaking off. Get those nails. Bless you. There we go. Mas. Yeah, that's okay. Yeah, it's a little much. It's good. You want to to make sure that you pull this rubber gasket up like we're doing right here. Next piece, we want to go a little bit higher on the skylight. That's all right.
Sale más para arriba.
Go up higher. Up.
Right. More.
Up.
¿Quieres hasta acá arriba, no? Sácale más. Sácale más para allá.
There you go.
Ahí está. Espera. Espera.
You want to make sure that when we cut it at an angle, we wrap this little corner piece over, and you want to press the ice and water shield down to the deck and onto the edge of the skylight. Press it tight like they're doing. Yeah, so we're lifting this. Obviously, we're going to put it underneath the shingles that's still here. Now we've got one more piece of ice and water to install. You work from the bottom up always, and this is going to overlap those corners and these little tabs here at the ends. You put one more piece going across the top, going underneath this course of shingle right here. Need a couple more nails up there. Right there. Coach, uno más. I missed that one right there. There we go. want to get this as tight as possible. Going underneath that shingle. You want to get as many of the ripples out as you can. You don't want it to interfere with the flashing that we're going to install on top. So that is key. Get it flat, get it as tight as possible. It's not the easiest thing in the world to do, but there you go. Perfect. So now we've got the underlayment installed, and next step is to start with the metal flashing down here. That piece is going to go on first. Is adding some shingles, building it back up a little bit. So when we put our bottom flashing on, all you see are the teeth of the shingles. So this is your sill flashing. This goes on the bottom of the skylight. Now pay attention to this rubber gasket here. The rubber gasket must be pulled over the sill flashing. Up. There we go, yep. Yeah. If you pull the corners up, it'll stick up decently. Go. This is kind of a tricky part of the install. Now you got to pull all this out. Awesome. Okay, and with Velux, nail placement is key. You just want to do 2 nails 45 degrees. So we're going to hit one here and one there. Perfect. And that's what we're going to do with the step flashing going all the way up. 2 nails, 45 degree. Awesome. All right, so in the flashing kit, Velux gives you everything you need. That's what's really cool about this. I mean, obviously you need some shingles for whatever roof you're working on, but this is the step flashing that they provide. In the kits, they actually give you more than you need. But what I like to do is take each piece of step flashing. I've already done this one. But you can see they're at almost perfect 90-degree angles. I'll get them and kind of work them out a little bit and open it up a little bit. So that way, when you press it up against the shingles, it's nice and tight. Put a little bit of tension on the step flashing. So that's how I do it. See the fake keyway there? It's an interesting design. You have to be super careful with the step flashing when you have stuff like that. A normal architectural shingle, you really shouldn't have that issue at all. .45 degrees. And these shingles are huge. So one thing I want to point out, here I mentioned how the flashing kits come with, you know, more step flashing than you really need. But let me give a little disclaimer here. This is a designer shingle. This is, you know, not like a traditional architectural shingle like you see over here. So these are a lot larger. If you're doing a designer, like a Skylight on designer shingle, you might use most, if not all, of the flashing, because sometimes you have to double it up just to compensate for the size of these shingles. Nothing wrong with doing that. It's not going to void the warranty or anything, but you do have to use the Velux flashing kits. When we do a roof with a designer shingle like this, we actually order larger step flashing. But yeah, you can see every couple of shingles he's got to double up the step flashing. I think he'll be able to finish up without having to do that anymore. But just wanted to make a note about that and let you guys know. This is not a typical install. This is pretty rare, at least for our area at least. But yeah, before we put on the top piece of flashing right there, we're gonna go ahead and put the cladding on. This will save you a little bit of headache down the road. So this goes across the bottom. These clips right here clip in to the head flashing up there. So if you put this on first, that other flashing will cover this, and there's a little slot. You'll pull this up and bend it over to lock it in place. There you go. Gonna save you some headache. See, this is going to hide that gasket, and it tucks in there pretty nice. There you go. Nail it first. Hey, coach, the piece, remove that. Remove the tape. No, the orange tape. Yeah. All right. And we're probably gonna have to remove this shingle here so we can put the ice and water on the top of this. Same nailing pattern, 45. Okay, so now we need to get the ice and water. Another line of ice and water shield. We're going to leave 4 inches from the bottom of the ice and water shield to the top of the flashing there. Hey, cut the felt.
Oh.
Cut a slit in the felt.
Okay.
Put it underneath the felt. There we go. So that way the ice and water is basically woven in to the underlayment that's existing. So if anything were to leak on these shingles up here, in theory it's going to hit the ice and water. It's going to hit the synthetic felt, and then it'll run out on top of this ice and water and not underneath our skylight flashing. And I'm telling you, this is kind of a funny installation because these shingles are not typical at all. Up a little bit. Good. This is going to be hard. All right, so the final step is to put the shingles back. Right here we're just fitting the shingle. So between the top flashing and the lowest course of shingle, you need to have 2.5 to 4 inches roughly. And then on the side right here, roughly 3/4 of an inch. Folks, well there it is. We're done with the skylight. We've got the cladding on the bottom. You got your sill flashing. All the step flashings installed. We've trimmed everything to fit just right, and that's it. I'd like to do another video soon, just with a standard architectural shingle, because I think this one was a little bit one-off. But either way, as a roofer, you got to be able to change on the fly and work with what you're given. So there you go. All right, roofing insights. Well, there it is. We just put one skylight in. We've got 3 more to go. I'm also going to do a follow-up video showing the operation, because these do have the solar powered blinds in them. I've already programmed them. When you buy the skylights, usually they come factory installed. This was a custom color, so we had to order the skylights and then the blinds separately, and I had to install those. And I can always do a video later on about how to install those. But I did have to program all 4 skylights to work on one remote, because they're just going in one area. I'll take you inside just to show you. I was in there at the beginning of the video, but let me flip this around and I'll show you where these skylights are going and why it makes sense. So this is why we're only going to use one remote to control all 4 skylights. This is actually an outdoor patio area. It's going to be real nice. They've got a fireplace, and I'm sure there's going to be some type of kitchen, but here's the skylights. And there's going to be 2 more So it doesn't really make sense to be able to operate them independently. So that's it, y'all. Take care.
I hope you guys enjoyed this video. If you have any questions for Brent, comment below. He will be happy to answer them. Or for me, if you're looking for a good contractor to install Skylight at your house, check out our Roofing Insights directory. We have $20,000 guarantee for our recommendation. If you find contractor on our directory, we don't get a cut from the sale. We don't sell you information. You do business directly with them. But because you found them on our directory, we want to back it up, that recommendation. We don't give bad referrals out. So if you find a contractor in our network, we want to make sure you're satisfied and they do the job right. So if our contractor installed Skylight wrong, I personally will cut you a check and will back up their warranty up to $20,000. If you want Brent to make more videos, give me one of those, let him know in comments, and we'll see you guys in the next video.